Hello and welcome to the Kayden Gordon Saturday's Best Country Mix. And joining me right here today is Jim Huddleston. First and foremost, Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I'm super excited to have you.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So let's get started by getting to know you a little and how you got started in the music industry.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be born into a musical family. My stepfather was a barber, but he was also made a side living as a steel guitar player in a Western swing band called the Seven Row Brothers Band, who rivaled the great Bob Wills band. So my family is the Seven Row Brothers Band, and my Aunt Louise played stand up bass for Bob Wills. And so these barber shops that they owned in Irving, Texas, no matter where I went, there was always a place to hang out and hear the great ones practice and sit in a corner and be quiet until one day I was about 11 years old. They took me with them. And then I started playing with them. And by the time I was 15, I was pretty well versed in country music. So my roots run pretty deep as far as country music goes. And um, I mean, I attribute a lot of what I do, despite how rocky I can sound sometimes and heavy handed. There's always a deep country root to it.
If someone was to take the time to write a song about you and your personality, what do you think that they would write about?
I don't know. Dennis Leary sang a song, but I don't think I can say that on the radio. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I, man, wow, that's a tough one. I guess this is where the cowboy rides away, maybe would be the title of the song.
Hmm,
I say
that's a
that,
very interesting one.
well, no, here, I'll just tell you. I mean, I was a rising country singer back in the late 80s. And I got a passion for our country over in the top of my music. And so when the war started, I left it all behind. And when I came back from the war, I didn't have I didn't have the same passion for music that I did before. I didn't want to do a whole lot of anything. So you're talking early 90s. So I did a career, raised a family, and I retired. So, if you're looking at it from my perspective, I'm just now making the run again after retiring. Um, and so, yeah, this is kind of the riding out into my sunset shot at getting the message out and get my music out.
So you have a EP called Gospel Outlaw, and one of the songs that is going to be released on December 8th, actually this Friday, called I'll Be Gone. Tell me a little bit about the EP and about that song.
Okay, so the EP, I love Gospel Outlaw. I love the uh, naming it. I wasn't sure if it was right, but now I know 100% my heart it was right. Living in this day and time, okay, and so for a secular audience, I'm going to apologize for going this direction, but I am a Christian and I'm a very devout Christian. Um, so my belief is that in these ugly, ugly days and times where there's so much violence and so much horrible, you know, actions out there, if you are trying to be a good Christian in this day and time, you are an outlaw. I mean, you are literally on the outside of everything. You're an outlaw. And so gospel outlaw to me is just what it feels like. If you remember the old West where the guys went out in the, you know, in a blaze of glory doing, what they thought was right. This is the same thing that I'm trying to do. I'm doing it from a position of strength now because I don't need the money. I'm just trying to get the message out. And so, um, and then outlaw on the other sense of the term is the style of music that I play. Um, I am, again, deep seated in country, my roots are. And so I'm a fan of the outlaw country music, Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, and those guys. And so you'll hear a lot of that in the music that I play, um, and probably more, that I've added in as my own influence on things. But um, yeah, does that answer the question? Actually,
To a certain degree, yeah, that works.
um, I'll be gone. Real simple. Um, I believe that one day there'll be a trumpet sound, and that people that have toiled and that they believe in God, um, and they perceive Christ as a Savior will be raptured, and they'll be gone. I talk about biblical things such as, our Father's house, there's so many mansions. One of them's prepared for me. I believe that when that trumpet sounds, that I will be taken from this pilgrim land that I've toiled through, and I will be in a better place. And I'll be gone is 100% about that. That's exactly what it's talking about. Is when my journey through this pilgrim life is over, I'll be gone. And the Bible talks about that. They talk about the rapture, and they talk about, when that trumpet sounds, how many people will vanish and they'll be gone, and there'll be those that'll be left behind. But I'm not going to be one of those peeps.
What advice would you give someone that might want to start doing music, whether that be singing or songwriting? What would you tell them in your own words, Jim?
You know what? Here's the thing about music. Um, you've got to really just forget about what everybody else thinks. um, if you start analyzing and Googling what everybody else thinks, they're going to scare you to death. Don't be scared. You know, I'm listening to some people right now on YouTube that are singing, and they're part of my MTS family now. And I would say put it out there. If if you believe in it and you think it sounds good and it means something to you, put it out there. Don't just make the decision that it's not good enough. Don't do that. Um, put it out there because you know so much music has become about people having something to show, but the music that's really coming through is the people that got something to say. And if you got something to say, put it out there and leave it up to the people that are listening to tell you yes or no. Don't make that decision. Uh, uh, go through with it. Look, I mean, who knows? You hit that heartstring just right, and you've really got something. I'll tell you. You probably interviewed her, or you at least know who she is. There's a gal out there right now that I would have never heard if I wasn't part of the MTS family. Her name is Tatum Shoesmith. Um, I might not have ever listened to that genre of music, but I caught a snippet of it, and this is how it happens. People catch a snippet of it and they go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's pretty cool," and all of a sudden you got a fan base. So don't ever shy away just because you think the people out there won't like you. Let them tell you. Let them be the decision makers, you know? Don't hide it from the world. Do it.
Jim, I absolutely agree with you because you'll never know what the actual answer is unless if you just give it a shot, put it out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because you might surprise yourself and a lot of people will like what you're doing, whether that be the music or the story that you're trying to tell or whatever it may be. People are going to feel that. And when you do it, you got to put your heart and your emotion out there as
Yes.
well.
You really do. I mean, I think, again, I'll go back to, I think honesty is the best policy. I'm
Mhm.
seeing, you know, artists that are stripping it down, and they're coming at you with raw emotion and raw lyrics and a great feel, and they're striking a nerve in the heartstrings as opposed to trying to impress you with a bunch of effects and a bunch of crazy stuff. They just they hit you with the music, and the music is fine, but the lyrics are the message, and they really actually grab at you. um, there's some people out there that are doing that very well. Again, it's something to say versus something to show.
So, Jim, if people want to learn more about you, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on my website, jimhuddlestonmusic.com. You can find me at mtsmanagementgroup.com. You can find me on Facebook. If you see the guy with the cowboy hat and the sunglasses, that's me. And my album, Gospel Outlaw, is actually releasing in 2 days. So I'll be on every digital platform out there.
Awesome. And Jim, is there anything that I forgot to mention that you would like to mention here on the show today?
Um, yeah, my motive for this album is not what a lot of people would consider their normal motive for putting out an excuse me motive for putting out an album. Um, my motive for putting this album out is to get the message out. I believe in the album Gospel Outlaw has a message for everyone. Um, so I think that's a good reason to get it to begin with. But also, this isn't a for profit album for me per se. At least at this point, it's definitely not at a profit. But um, I'm taking this money. My motives are different. I'm devoting it to the church, um, to missionaries, because I believe in what's going on in the world right now. I think that we're going to need quite a few more missionaries. I'm also a disabled veteran. I'm a combat veteran. Um, so there's a percentage being donated to veterans and tunnels to towers and things like that. So I think you'll find that this album, if it does well, will help many and not necessarily myself.
Jim Huddleston, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Kayden Gordon Show. Today's Best Country Mix. We definitely appreciate your time and support and hope to have you on the show again real soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, buddy.